Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of our Clickable Thumbnails workshop. We are talking all about how to make YouTube thumbnails that people actually want to click through to watch your content. We assume you have some pretty fantastic content, so you need to have those thumbnails, get people enticed in and joining you for your content. We are super excited to have Phil here today. As usual, selfishly, I just like to hang out with all of these people, especially Phil. So this is just gonna be Phil and I hanging out, and you all can just watch and ask questions as we go. Hey Phil, how's it going? Happy Friday.
I'm excellent. I love how you describe that. Introduce us as our Friday hangout. We're letting other people join us because that's basically what you and I do. Say yes to every opportunity to do exactly this. Hang out.
Exactly. Well, so a little bit of housekeeping before we fully jump in. If you were just joining us, we are day 3 of a 3-day workshop, but all 3 sessions are available, will continue to be available. If you want to get reminders, direct links to the replays, and any bonus content, as well as an opportunity to win a free year of Adobe Express Premium, you're going to want to register completely free. Swing on over to eCam.com/thumbnail-workshop, and that will give you all the information. But we're here on YouTube. You can share this link or links with any of your friends or colleagues. If you find this content helpful, we really appreciate you helping us spread the word. And again, as Phil said, any and all questions welcome that relate to Adobe Express, how to build a YouTube thumbnail, any kind of design elements, branding, we're going to cover it all. So definitely feel free to drop those questions in, put a Q colon in front of them so we don't miss anything, because there's lots of you hanging out with us today. So we just don't want to miss any of those important questions. But super excited to be here today. If you joined us for day 1 and day 2, you'll know that on the first day, we learned all about how to take headshots, which was a little bit awkward. we had to get through it. Phil and I were just joking about this before we jumped on, but you kind of have to have a couple poses in mind. You have to sort of know your angles. I learned a lot about angles. I'm bad at just looking directly at the camera. And even then in my mind, I'm like, this feels silly, but the results.
You'll get into the rhythm of it.
You get into the rhythm of
you'll
it.
get into and I shoot so many videos now that I have my set poses. So I always to camera like Katie, and then the finger goes up, and then I do an angle, and then I smile, and then I look, and then I look back. I literally have a sequence of movements, and I don't even think about it. I just do it.
Exactly. See, so you could even steal Phil's. You now have them recorded. You can write those down or take little screenshots and put Phil up as your posing icon that you can have near your camera, so you know what to do. At a bare minimum, we're really challenging you. Many of you already are using eCam, so you already have a camera connected in. You're able to just record a 4K or a 1080p video. You don't need to worry about the audio. You can slide your microphone out of the way and just do some simple poses so that you just start building up this database of headshots that you can use to make all of these graphics, right? So today we're going to pull these over into Express, but Phil, we were talking to we're going to use Express today, but this is really applicable whether you're doing using Photoshop, you're using Canva, whatever your graphic design tool is of choice. But the premise is that you want to create a folder, a project, a template, so that every single week when you need to be creating new thumbnails for your show or for your video projects, you can just go in and kind of mix and match to keep things looking really consistent and to make sure that you have that kind of eye-catching content, right? We said at the first episode, right? People want to be able to connect with expressions. They want to see people. They want to catch attention, right? So to stop that scroll, you really want to be able to have a good database. You don't just we're already breaking the rules, which is why we're doing this workshop in many ways, right? So if you think about the current flow thumbnails for our video podcast, The Flow, it's just Doc and I, same image every single week, same background, and we just change the text. That's not good enough anymore. That's not. So we need to have some variety to switch things up. So that's what
That's a good point.
Here to talk about today.
Yeah. And I have some examples that we'll be able to show. I think we've talked a lot about YouTube videos, but I mean, you need thumbnails for a whole variety of things. You might be doing an online course.
Yep.
Katie, I was just giving you an example. I just finished working on a project for Adobe that is a course. And so the
Mhm.
style of like thumbnail for that is a little different. Some of them don't have me in it. I can actually show it. Why am I
Yeah,
saying
let's
it
go.
when I could actually
We're
just
going to go over
demo it?
here. So
Yeah,
here's
so here's a type of thumbnail that isn't for a YouTube video. This is for a course, for a reading and a lab for a course that I've worked on. So you can see they all look like part of the same family. These are all stock photos that I've just removed the background on. Isn't that so cool?
Mhm.
That's how easy it is in Express. So you kind of want to like, obviously this is Adobe's brand, so lots of gradients and colors. Again, grab a stock photo and just whoop, I just removed it. And these are shown really small, so I probably, if this was going to be big, I would have done some additional work here. But that's another thing, Katie, right? It's like, let's not overthink this. Let's not spend a whole afternoon on thumbnails. This is one I just finished yesterday for my bi-weekly show on Adobe Live with my friend Lucas. So this is a series, and it's meant to, there we go. It's meant to be approachable and show people how to do things without overthinking it. So I wanted it to feel kind of crafty. That was like the style we went for.
Yeah.
And this is just built, I built all of this in Express. You could be using Canva, although I think you should be using Adobe Express instead, since so many of you already have Creative Cloud subscriptions, Photoshop, Premiere, Illustrator. Then you get Adobe Express Premium as part of that. If you don't have that, Adobe Express Free is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing as a starting point. There's so much you can benefit from without even having to pay. And you may use it enough that you find you upgrade. Okay, sales pitch over. But you see here, once you get yourself a template, and the template can take a little bit of time to set up. I know because I just updated next week's show, which Lucas agreed looks like a Pop-Tart. How
It does
much
look like a
does that
Pop-Tart.
thumbnail look like a Pop-Tart? I told him that's his nickname for our next show.
Mhm.
So yeah, like, these are just what we would call an Express design elements right over here. Canva doesn't have this. Canva's like a little Walmart-y. So, which there's nothing wrong with that if you like Walmart. I don't. I like a little more sophisticated design. So I hop over here to design elements, and these are just like really nice elements that you can add to your thumbnail. I find that like when I'm in Canva for a client, because I don't use it for myself anymore, but sometimes clients do because they've been using it for years. When I go over there, I find it hard to find like design elements that look cool
Mhm.
unless I have a very specific keyword in mind, Katie. But like with Express, it's just curated a little bit better, right? So even these like paint elements over here are really nice, even just color ideas. Like I could have some fun with this. I noticed on your thumbnail, which is awesome, you and Doc's thumbnail here,
Yeah.
like if you look really closely, friends, this is designed really well. I have a feeling Marshall was involved with this because
These are Marshall designs.
I just love everything that he does. So take a look at this. Like, look how nice that looks. That's just like a little glow element
Mhm.
right there. And it's just subtly dragged off. And it just like, it makes that pop. The ultimate test is I make it really small. And I'm like, would I click that? I mean, Doc Rock's face is on it. So of course I'd click that. But look at that. That looks amazing. That looks amazing. That is like a really good thumbnail. And look at you putting
Yeah.
those skills into practice.
I know, yeah. Well, what I really want to point out to people here is so here was my challenge, and I think that many of you have been in the same boat, right? So we do this podcast. I think we're about to hit episode 100 for the show, right? So we have
Amazing.
a lot of episodes. We've done a lot of thumbnails, obviously, for it. And I was saying earlier, like the thumbnail style was like the same every single week, so that it would be really easy, because Marshall is working on a ton of other projects for us, but every single
Yeah.
week we need a thumbnail, right? So every single week I'm going in and I'm saying like, okay, the topic of my episode is this. Here's what, the title and the description is going to be. Here are all my show notes. And here's what I want the thumbnail to look like. I'm not a designer. So but
Right.
I need for it to look consistent to the brand that Marshall's built for us, and I need to have, an eye-catching photo. It needs to be clickable. So there's all these things that go into it, but I have 10 minutes to spend on that every single week. I don't have a ton of time. I need
Yeah.
to just get it done, get it scheduled so that you can all join in and participate in the actual show itself. And my focus is on the content, making sure I co-host the show. I want to make sure that the content is as strong as possible. So
Yes.
knowing what we now know about best practices for YouTube thumbnails, which we talked about in episode 2 or in day 2 of this workshop, I knew that I needed these different elements, right? So like I need to have like myself or Doc, an image on it, right? It needs to be eye-catching, different every single time so people know which episode they're watching. They know that they haven't seen that one, or maybe they have seen it. It needs to have my branded font, but only a couple words, no more than 5, right? 5's a lot of words on a thumbnail. But then it needs to have
3 here, which I think was good. See, it's like easy to digest, and just by limiting it, it's able to take up so much of the thumbnail. And again, my ultimate test is to go really small. This is literally what I do when and I go, yep, I can read it. I would click it.
That is really smart. Actually, I'm definitely going to add that into my workflow. But I just wanted to show you. So can you go to the next one, Phil, in the series?
Absolutely.
So literally last night, and we're gonna fix this one a little bit because it's not perfect. But last night, I had Marshall send me immediately after yesterday's workshop session. I had him send me this template that he put together in Adobe Express, and I said, "Okay, let's see if any idiot can go through and take these elements." Right. So you can see we have the background color. We have these different elements that Phil was showing you earlier are all movable. So can I take that principle, like these design elements in this design principle, and can I add in a different topic, a different thumbnail image to be able to make it different, right? So this is the photo that I took in my little session, my photo recording session. But you can see I wasn't thinking. I was doing it really fast to be able to pull that off. So my elbows are cut off, right, on both sides. Like if Phil moves that image around, both those elbows are cut off. So I'm in this like weird situation where I can't, like if I was to put it in the middle, so if I slide it to the side, I still have an elbow cut off. So, but it didn't take me very long. Yeah, right. See, and like we can play around with it.
We could do that. You basically have to. I've done this so many times in my life, like with client photos and stuff. However, so that's one way. Katie is like you could just drag it down and just work with it. That actually doesn't look the worst. I think it's kind of cute. Like
it's kind of cute.
Katie popping up from the bottom. Yeah.
But look, like that took.
But we have a few ways to fix this.
5 minutes to make, and then immediately I learned next time I do my photos, I'm going to make sure that I like. And Phil was giving me a great suggestion. Like it's okay, maybe even if one elbow is off to the side, but like at least have one in so you can have sort of that movement around. And then we're going to show you, like, thanks to AI, we can actually now generatively fill that. So we can fix that if we want to. It's also even not all that awful, as Phil was saying. Like,
it's not, Katie. It's not like, that bad. Yeah. I'm like, there's so many ways we could fix this, and let's just explore because I don't want anyone stressed out about this. Like, if we wanted, we could cover it up. Do you know what I mean? With an icon or another design. That's not quite right because it's getting in there. But like something linear could be cool, or something skinny. So basically, let me talk through what I did. I clicked on elements. You guys can see my screen, all right? Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. Elements. I hang out a lot here in Adobe Express. Again, this is something that Canva doesn't have. They have a lot of assets, but it's kind of disorganized over there. I promise I won't spend the full hour bad talking Canva, but I just like Express better. As a design person, I feel like I can get done what I need. Oh my gosh, Katie, why don't we give you a sword? Here, look at this. We can just straighten out this sword. This is very on brand. Just kidding. So sorry, I saw that and I had to just act. So even this play button could be really cute. Do you see, no one's ever going to notice. I don't know. That's not quite right. But like you have fun with it. And in this case, I don't think you require a reshoot. If you really wanted to, you could go over. There's a way to do this in Express. For me, it's faster to do this in Photoshop, because it's a PNG. What I could do here is just click Generative Fill right there. It's an overlay, and I leave the prompt empty. Note that it will generative fill isn't really designed for transparency, so I'll likely have to generate a result and then remove
And
the
then remove the
background, which
background.
is simple.
Yep, there it goes.
Look at
Yeah.
that. That actually works great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works great. So I'm actually just going to flatten that, and then I'll probably just quickly, nope, set my tolerance lower and just go, or I could actually just, here is what I'm going to do. This is my favorite tool, one of my favorite tools in Photoshop. We're not overthinking it. We're just going to draw quickly. And until we get a full one, I'm just going to click delete. And that, my friend, gives Katie a elbow. And I'm going to click save on that one. And then we'll go back. And then I can right click this and select replace. And then I can upload from device. That should be in my very disorganized downloads folder. There we go. And
Bam!
we just gave Katie an elbow. Okay. So that's one way to do it. But if you're like, I don't know Photoshop, or I don't know what the heck I did, just work with it, or remember for the next time. My advice is always go full on one side. So if in a camera frame, I know we talked about this on day one, but it's kind of like you can cut yourself off, but only cut yourself off on one side. So if I cut myself over here, you should be able to see my full elbow. And if it doesn't go, then drop it a little bit. Just give yourself the flexibility by not cutting off on both sides. Does that make sense?
It does make a ton of sense. And look how fast that was. And there are lots of tools that will do that kind of thing. So if you're like, wait, I'm not a designer, it is a solvable problem. It's also, and Marshall, I think, said this yesterday as we were working through this kind of content, but the logo, so we have the flow logo in this thumbnail. That's just an element. And again, remember, we're trying to make each of our thumbnails in this series of thumbnails look a little bit different from each other, but have the same overall design language, right? So I could actually remove the logo from this one and put a different element to block my elbow, and that would still be fine because we don't have to have the logo in every single one. So I have some options. I can not worry about it. I can fix it. Or I could, as Phil was doing earlier, just remove that logo and put a different, maybe it's a play button, maybe it's, whatever else. Since we're talking about YouTube actually in this video, right? Grow on YouTube, you could put the YouTube play button. So there are a lot of different options here. What you really need to think about is, does the thumbnail that you are creating look a little bit different? So than other ones. So maybe you want to move you want to move the text down to the bottom corner and the photo around. You're moving kind of the different elements around. So it's sort of plug and play, mix and match, but it shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes because you have now all these different pieces, right? So you don't need to overthink it too much. You want it to be really simple, clean, feel very much like you. There is a great question coming in that I want to make sure I address before we get too off the rails. So are thumbnails with pictures more likely to be clicked on? Yes. Yes, they are.
Yes.
Yes.
And then I would say a human face is always a good idea.
Yeah. With an expression. So, and sometimes it might be fine for it to just be smiling, but it probably is going to be more clicked if it is an expression that is unexpected, right? So that's why you see so many YouTube thumbnails have people that are looking shocked or you're trying to catch attention. So you don't want to be clickbaity, but also if you want to deliver on the video that you're giving, right? If the content that you're giving is surprising or shocking or something really interesting that people, that's okay to be able to give a thumbnail image like that.
Stay true to your brand. Mm-hmm. Stay true to your brand. So I've done the shocked thing, but I work with a thumbnail designer just purely based on timing. Yeah. I also like to have a second opinion. If that makes sense. I know that's kind of weird, but I put so much of myself into a video. I script it, I record it. I don't edit it. I outsource that. I also outsource my thumbnails for me, even though I still design thumbnails for others and for projects, but I find it's helpful to have an objective interpretation of what I'm trying to do. Like it's like teamwork in a way, and I
Yeah.
find that really helpful for me. But that's not to say, Katie, that I can't jump into Express and create my own thumbnail. I certainly can, and that's
Yeah.
what we're doing today. But like, stay on brand. I find myself doing the like super shocked, borderline clickbaity poses. I do those less now because I feel like they're a little played out. However, a lot of big YouTubers will still do it because it works. So
Hmm.
just stay true to your brand. Stay true to your brand. Like just this is a very Katie on brand image right
It
here.
really
Like
is.
that is you.
It really is.
That is you. By the way, Katie, I realized that I went over to Photoshop to demo something. I have another way of demoing this actually in Express
Okay,
without
great.
even using generative fill,
Let's
without
do
having
it.
to leave Express.
All right, let's do
I
it.
had a brain fart at the beginning and I was like, how do I do this in Express? It's because the background was already removed that it wasn't working. But
Okay.
yeah, but see, this is the full image.
Yep.
This is a newer feature in Express that is kind of hidden because it's new and a lot of people don't know about it. But you get the power of generative fill in Express without having to go over to Photoshop. It's called Generative Expand, and it's available when you resize an image. So
Oh,
let me
okay. That
show
makes
you.
sense. Yeah.
Yes. So we have not removed the background. This is flat PNG or JPEG, but no transparency. Click resize up here. And this handy little gizmo right here called expand, resize
Hmm.
image by generating the missing parts. You want to enable this. This will not be an option if the image does not go full width, either top to bottom and or side to side.
Okay.
So if I minimize this small and it's just floating in the middle when I
Yeah,
go,
you
see,
lose it.
see
Yeah,
how
I
it's
see
not
it.
an option?
Hmm.
You lose it.
Yeah.
So you must go either top to bottom or side to side or both.
Hmm.
I'm going to go both. And then I'm going to, the size doesn't really matter. I just need to make sure I resize it enough that it gives me some elbow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go 2500 and we're going to click
Nice.
resize
Oh,
and
look
we're going to see the
at
rainbows.
it
This means that generative expand is working. And what it's going to do is it's going to use that same technology powered by Adobe Firefly to decide how can we
go.
finish the
Perfect.
image. Look
Look
at
at
that. I would even say that
that.
that's even
That's
better
actually
than what we
better.
were able to
Yeah,
do in Photoshop.
that was
Yes.
better.
I think because Katie, what I imported into Photoshop was a transparent background. So we're really
Uh,
not, I always say with AI, the output is only dependent or is dependent on the input. In this
hmm.
case, we're giving much more input than output, or much more input to get a better output. So what I can do now is just click remove that background, and then I can bring you. I love that we have the full width
Look at me.
either side,
Two elbows, both alike in
two
dignity.
elbows.
Right.
So what I'll also do, I'm not going to delete this. I'm going to just click up here, duplicate, and let's just give you one more option. So I'm going to paste in that one that I just, oh, not that one. Hold on, let me go to that image that we just generated of you. There we go. I'm going to click copy, and then I'm going to click paste, and there you are. And see,
Look.
just to prove your point, Katie, that you made earlier, by giving yourself the full frame, both elbows, even if you have to like adjust slightly and cheat the angle, it just gives you a lot more flexibility. Like you could come over here,
Yeah.
you could come over here all the way. You can still crop it out.
Yeah.
It just gives you options. So it just occurred to me that I should really demo how to do that in Express since we're working from that today. So thank you for indulging me.
No, that's great. And Marshall is saying, please tell Adobe to unhide that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
know. I
Um,
know.
this is a
Yeah,
great
it's a newer
question.
feature. It's a newer feature. That's why it's kind of hidden.
Exactly. We'll work on that, Marshall. This is a great question coming in. So this is a follow up to the question on like having people in your thumbnails. So my crafty adventures, obviously a craft channel. So should the
Yeah.
thumbnail have a picture of the craft or of the person? I have feelings, but I'm interested to know what you think, Phil.
Well, I think that humans connect with humans, so it's never going to be a bad thing to lean into whatever the human connection is. At the same time, I understand that some creators are less confident on camera and they don't want their work to be interpreted as the me show. So I've worked with people that have much more hesitation than me to like just put your photo,
Mm-hmm.
like just put your photo, you know? So in that case, I don't know. You could get creative. Like I would test it. We don't know anything until we have data. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to, try it, you can A/B test on YouTube, but you could also just A/B test between episodes. Like try one with and try one without. The beauty of thumbnails on YouTube is that they can be changed after. Unlike a video, I mean, you can use YouTube's antiquated editor and try to remove things. I've done it before and it's horrible. But normally, like when you record a video, like that's done,
Yeah.
right? But with a thumbnail, you can go in years later if you want and just change out the thumbnail. So let's stop putting so much pressure on ourselves to get a perfect thumbnail, knowing that it can be changed later,
Yeah.
right? I would say I'm trying to entertain the person that's like, I don't want to have my face everywhere. This is an example of where I have my face very small, very small. It's a series. Lucas and I rarely actually get to be together. So instead of like, kind of like making it look like we're standing side by side, we use our thumbnails. That's one way of doing it, just profile photos. This is a stock photo that I just removed the background on in Express and just kept some brand elements that we use with Adobe, lots of colors, gradients, etc. So I don't know. Those are a few ways to like work around the me show if that's how you're feeling. Katie, now add your thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with everything that you just said. I think it probably is pretty important for you to put yourself out there. If not you, then maybe find a different person. Like if, but I think you need to push yourself a little bit. And I would say that the A/B testing is a great way to do that, because I'm willing to bet that if you have a photo of just the cool finished project as your thumbnail, and then a thumbnail with you holding the cool project or you actively working on the cool project, I'm willing to bet that the one that has you in it is going to convert a lot higher than the one with just the project. Because
Yes.
again, people connect with people. They want to know your story. They want to know what you're doing. It feels like they can put themselves into that situation. So I will say, and then again, the practicing is going to go a long way. We talked earlier on day one about how awkward it can feel. Like I'm on video all the time. It still feels super awkward to record a video and do all these like funny poses. And I'm not even like thrilled with this. This is like not my favorite photo of myself, but I do think that it is going to make a difference. So if you can kind of get into the habit of
Yeah.
doing it on a regular basis, you're going to get as good as Phil, where he can do his 5 poses like without even thinking about it, right? Because he's doing them so often. So it's just a matter of
I have them right
practicing.
here. You
Right?
can see the whole look. See, Katie? I only have one arm up because I know that I can't fit both of them in the same frame.
Smart.
How about that?
I learned a lot just in this like couple minutes, but it's
Yes. So
it
you
goes a
can
long way.
see
And
my sequence.
if it makes you feel better, so again, Phil is a professional, Doc is a professional, I am professional-ish, but all of us, as we were preparing for this series of for this workshop and for these series of videos, every single person who was involved in the production of this workshop said, I did these, for you, Katie, for the workshop, but this isn't normally how I look, or I don't. So everyone has those feelings of, it feels a little bit awkward to have a photo taken of yourself. You probably don't 100% love it, but it does work
Yeah.
and convert. Like Doc said that. I felt that way. You said that, Phil, as we were just jumping on. You were like, this is an
Yeah.
older haircut. Like we have, as humans, kind of this reaction of being like, it's not my best, but it'll do, right?
Yeah.
Kind of the mom mode, as I joke, but it does make a difference. So I guess long answer to say, test it and try to get a little bit uncomfy, because I think it really will help
Yes.
more people connect with your videos.
I wanted to put this example on screen. This is a thumbnail system that we came up with for my
I
client,
love it.
Jessica. She does, I think she has 600,000 or 700,000 subscribers on YouTube. This is her main business. She also has a membership community. And she came back to us years after we branded her and said, hey, can you help me like create a system for this, for thumbnails? Not only for YouTube, but also for her app. And so that's exactly what we did. Like we came up with a system, vertical, like Instagram, just a style guide almost, if you will.
Hmm.
Not set in stone, but just to like give some guidance. It should come back in focus here in a second. I think it's because I'm full screen and I'm streaming and my computer's like, what the hell's going on?
No, this it's actually
But
great
like
in
we
some ways.
use,
It's not, because what's really
yeah,
cool to see here is that you can
yeah,
immediately see that these go together. But if you look at it, like if I was working my way through these videos, I would be able to say, oh, I definitely watched Weights Full Body in 20 minutes because I remember that thumbnail, right? I haven't seen quick
yeah.
stress relief exercises, but you know that it's all the same series, show, etc., because it's consistent, right? It's the same kind of like the color scheme, even though they're different colors, goes together. The font is the same in everyone. You have that little icon, you have that little like blurb. So this is like a great example of these all go together, but they're not just the same thumbnail with different words, right? Which is what the failure that we're doing right now, right? The same thumbnail with different words.
And
No,
yes,
but this is a
well,
very
yes,
simple
and
thing, right? Little elements. She
it's
could do
very
this in
simple.
minutes.
And this is design. The other parameter here is that Jessica's not a designer, and she does these herself. So she's got, not far off from 1 million subscribers, and Jessica still does her own thumbnails. It's part of her workflow. So this needs to be made easy for her, and it needs to be created for a non-designer. That's really important. That like my job as a brand designer or as a brand strategist is to be like, how do I work with you and your workflow and your skill set and your interest? I don't want you to have to spend an entire day building a Picasso masterpiece thumbnail. So, like, what do we have to work with? We have photos from her photo shoot or stills from the video.
Yep.
We have brand elements. That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
show here. So, we have these like cool
Yeah.
shapes that are based on tropical leaves, and that inspired her visual brand. I should be able to showcase a little bit of that. So, like, so we've got her whole kind of like brand system here. There we go. My computer is like freaking out because these are very big files. There we go. So like these kinds of elements. So it's really just about like creating a system, that works for you. And that's exactly, Katie, what you guys have done here, right? Brand elements, background, photo can change. Just try not to overthink it and build a system for yourself that's not going to require a full afternoon every single time you want to post content, because that's going to be one more resisting element that will make it really difficult to be consistent. This is another system. Like I have a few businesses. I don't have an entire day to make a thumbnail. So I need to be able to hop in here and make updates quickly. I can do this in 15 minutes. The whole graphics for the entire live stream I can do in 15, 20 minutes. And it's fun,
Yeah.
right? So like these are elements that I can grab in here. I can go to icons. Icons I can change the colors of. So that's right back here. Shapes I can also fully change the colors and sizes. So I typically live here as shapes and icons. I can put two together and make my own. That's like what I've done here. Just like make it work for yourself, make it work for yourself and have some fun with it and always do the test. Like,
I
can I still
love
read
this
that? Yes, I can
test.
read it.
I'm definitely going
I'm
to
glad you
apply
like
the
that.
tag. This is a new thing in my system. I was going to ask, so I would love to even try to like count, but so I love the idea, obviously, of like, it's like basically like headshot, background, or like color,
Elements.
logo,
Yeah.
font, and then elements, right? Which are like, in this case, it's these little like swooshes, it's the glow. Those are all the
Yeah.
different elements. How many elements roughly should people be thinking of, right? So it's like you probably want the same elements to keep consistent, or ones that work well together to keep it easy as like a repeatable template. How many elements do you think people should have in their thumbnails?
Something you can do is create a slide in Adobe Express that have all of your pre-approved elements that you can then pull from for the future. So
Perfect.
one
I love
mistake
that.
is having too many different things
Yeah.
or styles. So one of the things that makes Marshall a master is that he makes decisions and he follows those decisions. Once decisions are made, once a brand is created, you must follow the rules, right? And
Yep.
so I'm getting animated because
No, this is great.
I also feel passionately about this. I've spent 14 years making rules for my clients, so so their brand feels valuable. So what I love too in Express is just like in Photoshop or any other Adobe app, we can see all the layers here on the right hand side. In Canva, you can access them; they're kind of hidden. But like I love that I can see this. So like what I might do, Katie, is I might create an empty slide for you up here,
Mm-hmm.
or I won't duplicate it. Let me just click new slide and then drag that at the middle.
Mm-hmm.
What I could do here is let's just borrow this text right here, go back, and then I'm going to do like here, brand elements, and I'm going to make that smaller, and I'm just basically labeling this for myself. Let's make it around 50 and center it. I might take that drop shadow off, or we could just put it on a black background and then we could see it. This idea, and just like give yourself a slide that allows you to gather these elements ahead of time. I'm actually just going to take the background. There we go. I'm going to just copy that over. Oh, that's cool. Let me actually just make this smaller. So what you could do is you could put all of these elements on one slide and then you can visualize.
Yeah, what
Let's
they
just
are and how
grab
many there are. Yeah, exactly.
and how they all fit together. So there we go. We can just shrink it for now. Maybe I'd give this like a little purple background.
There we go.
I would go and sample the exact purple of your color. But then what we can do is we can hop over to elements, and you don't even necessarily need to like start with the keyword. I would literally just venture in here. I would just venture in here under design elements and go, what is the vibe? What is the vibe of the brand? And don't put a ton of pressure on yourself. You can delete elements quite easily, but let's just like place a few things and decide what it means to be on brand and what it means to not be on brand. Okay, I'm liking these. I might not like them in a second, and that's okay. I like that kind of like ribbon, this one that Marshall sourced right here, that's kind of like Windows screensaver from the 90s. Now I'm dating myself.
No, it feels very 90s.
Look at what I just
Look at
found.
that.
Look what I just found.
Right.
Okay. Look what I just found in 30 seconds. And even this is really cool. So, and then if you fill up a slide, then create another one. Just click duplicate and just start to like give yourself a little repository to be able to just like pull from quickly, right? Katie, we're trying to save you time.
Yeah.
So like I do this a lot when I'm having to do a series or set myself up to like customize it quickly. I just give myself a few slides up here where I can literally just grab the elements and go.
And then we should talk a little bit about about the kind of functionality and kind of file organization as it pertains to Express, because I think that might be helpful for people. So, I've been calling this like a template, right? Like you want to build something where exactly what Phil was just showing you. You have like, which colors and fonts and design elements and everything that you need for that series of thumbnails that you're creating, and it's all ideally in one spot, so that every single week you're adding your new thumbnail, you're adding your new headshots into a folder. You can easily, every time you click to add a new font, it's pulling in the correct font, the colors, all of it, right? So in Express, there are lots of different named things, right? There's projects, there's brand kits, there's templates. So how do we build one of these so that when we jump in every single week or every single month or whatever the frequency is, we can just get ready to go? How do we build it all out?
Yeah, let me explain that. So obviously to download something, you click up here to download. Um, to share it, you would click the share button and then you've got a few options. If I want to share this file with someone by email address, I would add that here, but I can also copy a link.
Hmm.
That unique link that they get makes basically invites them to become a collaborator once they click it in
Awesome.
Express, and you have to have an Express account for that. You could share this design with someone and not require them to have an Adobe Express account. If you just want them to see the design, I would click here,
Yeah.
view only link. And then if I want, I can toggle this on and it allows them to use it as a remixable template. What that means, I'll create a link. When I go to that link, it means that there'll be a little button in the corner that says use or, create as from remixable template. And it means that
Hmm.
I'll start from this design, but that design, that duplicated design is not linked to the originator in
Got it.
any way.
Yeah.
So it would be just my file. So Katie, if you and I are working on this together, the best thing to do, share it with my email address or copy the link and invite me. You can decide here what level of permissions. The other thing you can do is if you're collaborating more frequently in Express, it makes sense to actually just get this set up as a project. And that's
Hmm.
exactly what we've done. So the layer of organization goes like this. A brand is specific to Adobe Express.
Okay.
Okay. That's where I can pre-populate all my logos, colors, fonts, templates, and assets. How convenient that I'm already on my Ecamm
I know.
workshop brand.
You're here.
I
Yeah.
did not plan that. Yeah, I did not. I literally did not plan that. But look, I can click through here and just grab these elements so that I'm not having to look up the hex code every single time I need to
Yeah.
color something,
Oh,
right? Um, and then multiple logos, just super handy to have all of that right here.
yep.
So a brand is specific to Express. What's cool about it too is once it's set up, you can single click apply brand and I can toggle through and it will actually pull.
Oh,
Obviously,
nice.
it's not the right brand in this
Yeah.
case, so it's going to
Yeah.
look kind of crazy. But like once you have all those elements set up, you can single click and toggle through and apply those fonts, colors, backgrounds, etc. Um, a brand can live inside of a project. So to access projects, is where it gets a little confusing. Projects are under your stuff. So here you're going to find files, uploads, everything you've been working on
Got it.
are going to be under files. Projects, here we have the flow thumbnails. This could even be your project, Katie, could be Ecamm.
Got it.
And within your Ecamm project, you could house all the different shows that you're working on. And
Hmm.
those shows could each have a brand. You also, if you want, as you've done here, you can folder within that library and put those headshots. So like there's ways to customize it based on what you need.
Got it.
Project is the highest level of organization,
Okay.
and you could have multiple brands within a project. If you've just got one show, one brand that you're working on, then you might just set that up as a brand and then have those headshots and folders and templates and fonts and stuff set up there. So there's different ways to like organize it. I don't want to confuse anyone, but I might. Libraries are something different. Libraries span across Creative Cloud apps, okay? Like Illustrator and Photoshop. Libraries, it's like when you go to save something in Photoshop and you have the option to save it to the cloud, that gets saved in a library,
Got it.
okay?
Okay.
And you can access those assets in Express, which is really handy. So like a brand would have your logos, fonts, colors. A library might have your design elements for a specific project that you're working on across apps,
Got
Illustrator,
it.
Photoshop, Express. That's basically it. I won't confuse you anymore because I
No,
realize it's like, I know
this
there's
is
lots of different names for things.
this is great. And again, like the thing I really want everyone to take home is that we're not just building thumbnails, we're building a repeatable system to create thumbnails quickly. And so
Yes.
again, that's why we structured it
Yes.
the way we did for this workshop. So what we want you to get into the habit of doing is taking regular headshots and photography that's specific for thumbnails and for marketing images. Do it on a regular basis so you would build a giant database of photos of you, your co-host, the people, right? And then you want to take that folder into a tool like Express or Canva or whatever else you want to use. label it correctly, have that as your folder, but you also want to be able to build out the other elements that go into a thumbnail. So we've talked about that this entire video, where you want to have your colors, your design elements, your logo, like all the different things, but you want them at the ready. You want them there. Like you want to only build that out once, so that every single time you or a team member is going in, like I could hand this project off to Paul, to Caleb, to Doc, to anyone on my team, and they would be able to go in and create a thumbnail if I was out sick or if I was traveling or whatever reason in minutes, and it would look on brand, but it would be unique to itself. And and we could turn it easily into, any other different market, and marketing collateral, and it would work across the board. So that is the system that we're hoping that you build, because obviously we're all creating lots and lots of content. We're all really busy. Many of us are teams of one or maybe two if we're lucky. So we want it to be as kind of seamless and simple as possible, so that again, more eyes on the videos that you're working on. So this is I think hugely helpful, but I just didn't want anyone to feel daunted by like, where is everything, or how do you do it? That actually matters less. What matters really the most is thinking through like building a system, building a template, building a workflow that will make it easy for you to do this on a regular basis, right? Look, in the time I'm talking, Phil's already got like it done, ready to go. Send that over to me, Phil. We're ready for next week's episode. This is a great question.
This is now for Instagram.
Perfect. I love it. I have my Opus clips. We'll be ready to go for that. Can you import a custom font in?
Yes, you can. So let me show you where. Go to text, add your text. So let's just use this layer, for example.
That is actually my font.
Go edit. It is. So look, here it's view only, but I would actually upload it right here. So upload your font right down there. It is a premium feature, so you cannot have custom fonts on Adobe Express free, because, software companies got to make money somehow. So they're not going to give you all the features. But again, you might find that as you're using Express, by the way, for free, Adobe Express, you have access to all Adobe fonts, or almost all Adobe fonts. Yeah, there's so many. But if you want to start to get really jazzy and you want to use your own font and it's not an Adobe font, then you're going to want to upload that puppy just by going right there. Yes. So yes, the answer is yes.
And we should take this moment actually to remind everyone that, again, this is a day 3, the last day of a 3-day workshop we've been doing. And Phil and the Adobe team were kind enough that everyone that registers for this workshop, again, completely free, you'll not only get the photography pro tips PDF that Anna put together, which is incredible. It's super helpful. But you will also automatically be entered to win. We're giving away 1 free year, 1 license to Adobe Express Premium. So a really great opportunity. But in many cases, you may already even have it. Adobe, again, is like a pretty like best in class, very well known, not a small brand, and Express comes free with a lot of different tools. So worth checking to see what level you actually may already have, especially if you're in the Adobe ecosystem. But definitely go ahead and register, or send the link through to any friends or colleagues that might find this workshop helpful. We're here to support the community. But yeah, thank you so much, Phil, for that. I think that goes a long way to be able to get some of those additional tools within the premium level.
Of course. I just added some fun little animations on this design. I'm not really convinced about this one, but I love the logo that's doing a little bob right there.
I love
Isn't that cool? And yeah, like, you think about it, and it used to be that you would have to like send this over to someone to customize in After Effects, and it would take hours. Now, literally just click on an element, select animation. And what this does is it converts the project to a video, and it gives us a timeline. So that was like a static image, which again, I can just click here and I can make it a static image again. Click remove duration, and then it goes back to just an image. But if I want to, I'm going to select both of those elements right there. Let's deselect the background. I can then add, so right here under looping, you can animate in or animate out or loop. I love a loop because then um, look at that. So, I mean, done in literally seconds. And then when you go to download it, you would just click up here and it's going to give you a video format
Yep.
now because we converted it into a video with that animation that I have full control over here. If I've got a song, or a theme song, I can upload that right here, or I can choose from media, go to audio, and then this is music and sound effects that you can pull from Adobe Stock. Um, Honestly, one of the best things about Adobe Express is the access to stock media without having to license it separately.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like a dirty secret, but it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, you go to stock.adobe.com and you would pay roughly $10 to license an image, like a photo or a video
Yeah.
clip, sometimes even more. In Express, you have access to hundreds of thousands of stock assets here under media, and that is covered under your Adobe Express subscription, whether you're paying just for Express Premium or you have Creative Cloud All Apps, then Adobe Express Premium is included in that subscription. You don't pay extra. But I'm telling you, I hop in here. Like I can actually show you an example, Katie,
Yeah.
if I go over and just pull something I've been working on recently. Let me go back to the homepage. So like I do all my YouTube graphics in Adobe Express. So I pull a screenshot of
Yep.
me from my video, and then I use that as just kind of rough guidance to then grab the other elements, which could be text. And then this is all stock media that goes into my YouTube video, 4K. So like click download here and I have access to it. Custom resolution, I have it set to 4K when I download it. And I don't have to pay separately because I've accessed that through Adobe Express. Interestingly enough, when you then go to stock.adobe.com and click purchase history, all the stock media that I've downloaded will be visible, but it shows that it's included in my Adobe Express subscription. So it's still tracked, usage is still tracked, but you don't have to pay separately for it. And I think that is like amazing.
That is really huge. And we talked about this yesterday, and we've talked about this as well in like past workshops, but many of us are doing this professionally for our businesses,
Yes.
for our jobs. And so having a record and making sure that you are using all of these, tools and assets and things correctly goes a really long way. Like there's a lot of apps out there that are not giving you that level of security or coverage. And so I would say like the biggest selling point for this app is Adobe is not messing around when it comes to permissions and copyrights. And so you can feel safe
Yes.
that like not only do you have permission to use it, but you have a record of the permission you have to use it so that you know that you're not breaking any rules or running into any kind of copyright violations. Because messing around with that is not great. Like you do not want to be in a situation where YouTube or a creator or anyone in between is accusing you of taking someone else's, copyrighted materials. So it's certainly worth paying attention to really closely and making sure that you are following all best rules and best case examples.
Anytime you're using stock media in Adobe Express, I want to just point out that you can see the asset ID number right there. It'll tell you who created it, what the title is, if you wanted to go over to stock and find it, or if you want it, like here, you can see the licensing and usage terms. Like Adobe does not keep that secret because that's a huge selling point.
Yeah.
Really, when you talk about AI and its use, it's all about transparency. It's about indemnification. It's about, that level. There's something called content credentials, which Adobe created that you're going to start seeing pop up a lot this year in terms of it being generally accessible, where any image created using AI, you're going to be able to see what images were referenced and the whole kind of history behind that, which is so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I don't see a whole bunch of questions coming through. We may have just nailed it. Is there anything else that we're missing, Phil?
No, I mean, I feel like you combine this final episode with the other two, and people are hopefully feeling a lot more confident
Yep.
when it comes to approaching this. We've demoed a lot of stuff in Adobe Express. You can be doing this. I know Doc talked about switching back over to Photoshop for his thumbnails. You want to
Yep.
just find a system that works for you, and you want to make your life simple. You want to not put a ton of pressure on yourself, because you can always change the thumbnail later.
Yeah.
Just don't let this get in the way of your ability to create content and stay on the radar of people that matter. And especially if you're just starting out, just do your best. And every single time you hit publish, you're going to get better, going to get better, going to get better. And the thumbnail is not something to stress about because you can always change it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go back and change. So I have now twice changed all of the flow thumbnails. Because, you know, when we initially designed them, and then we brought Marshall on as a designer. So we updated all of them and went back and changed it. And now that we are, you know, have these new cool ones that Marshall helped us kind of update and elevate, now they're going to look even better. And so we're able to go back and update that really easily. I'm definitely going to apply this new test that I learned from Phil.
A small test.
A small test.
Like, look how small. That's as small as I can go in Adobe Express, and I can read it perfectly. And I would definitely click it.
Yeah, right. And so yeah, just updating your system goes a long way. I'm still not convinced about open mouth. I think I might have to keep mouth closed going forward. I don't love that one, but that's okay. And again, like, you can use the tools built into YouTube, or there's a ton of other, you know, apps and software out there to help you with testing and analytics and seeing what's working and not working. So as we mentioned earlier, like, really taking the time to play with it and to just try it out. Like, you know, this takes minutes now. So create 2 of them and do a test, run an A/B test and see what resonates more with people. Ask your friends and partner and coworkers and everyone else, like, which do you like better, this one or that one? What do you think of this?
Or on
photo?
YouTube, or on Instagram.
Or
But
Instagram,
would you click one or two and make it a little poll in your Instagram story? And that's another way of telling people that you have a new video.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
get them involved with the vote, and that also lets people know what you're working on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Phil, and thank you so much to all of you for hanging out with us for this workshop series. Again, the link has been shared a number of times, both in the description of this video as well as in the chat. So if you want to register for it, all of these videos are free, accessible to everyone. You are welcome to rewatch them. You can always reach us within the eCam space. So if you go ecam.com/community, you'll find our Facebook group and our Discord space. Obviously here on YouTube, we have a ton of videos as well. Phil, where can people find you?
Oh my gosh, LinkedIn, Instagram, and obviously YouTube. I'm always publishing content. I try a lot of apps and tools. I stream on Adobe Live, and I'm very much in the eCam fam. So you'll see my face pop up quite frequently because that's just how it works, you know?
And Phil just published a new book that we recently had a book launch party for. Of course, I brought mine to my room, so I was reaching to grab it.
Don't worry. I got one. I always have one within arm's reach.
Yeah. So if you're looking to learn some of these tools, as you can now see, Phil makes it really, really simple and really friendly for all of us who are, you know, just trying to get stuff done and get better every single day without kind of stressing ourselves out. So there's a lot of other big things to think about. Don't let this be one of them. That's a really great book to pick up if you want to just start learning AI in a really simple, approachable way. So congrats again, Phil, on an awesome book. I'm loving it.
Thank you guys for hosting my book party. I mean, you guys were brand number 1 to get behind me, and many of our amazing creators at Creator Camp have their copy, and you hosted a fireside chat with me. And eCam is mentioned in the book. I should also mention that eCam is mentioned as one of my tools that I recommend. I use it religiously, and I think other people should too.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, we did it. Thank you so much. Happy Friday. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone who's watching us live. And we will see you in the next stream or in one of our community spaces. And be sure to replay all of these videos to grab all of those great pro tips throughout 3 days of content, share with friends and colleagues, and let us know in the comments or in the community what topics we should cover next. We have lots of great workshops and content series coming up for you, but always love to hear your feedback. Lots of thanks and excitement from the fam, Phil. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you all in the next one.
Thank you for having me.
Bye,
See
everyone.
you guys.